the Niners have been pretty much their big move so far has been the two Jaguars they signed, Luke Farrell and Mac Jones. Because anytime you can bring in a couple of Jaguars backups, that's what you got to do. Are they just waiting to make a bigger move? Are they just like lowering expectations, or is this?
I believe this is the new normal. I think that the context of this is, are the Niners circling the wagons, right? Are they kind of just weathering the storm, or is this a new direction in how they're moving? I tend to believe that this is a new direction. They're moving on from not just players with big contracts, but they're moving on from what would be names in the locker room, team leaders, culture cultivators, if you will. I think that, the shift from the coaching staff is also showing that they're not stalling for any other moves. And then if you just look at just the past years, that's what we have been doing, going after the big move, Christian McCaffrey, moving on to get Javon Hargrave, and putting ourselves in positions where we're always so fighting for the Super Bowl window, but one player away. But I think we've had a couple of those games last year where you and I had talked over after some games where we had some national games where we lost in front of the whole world. And the overall sentiment was the secret is out, man. There's no hiding it. There's no national media that can act like the Niners are A-OK. No, they got to own it. I'm the only person, the only entity that was really shooting us bail over the last season was PFF. I don't know what they were talking about. But outside of that, it is a new direction. I don't think that they're stalling for bigger moves. I think that they're moving in to build the depth, kind of move slowly, get younger, get cheaper. And I believe that moving forward, it's going to be hell or high water before you see us get a big name in free agency for a while. We're going to have to make splashes in the draft, which is why I have my draft pick that we're going to talk about later.
I think part of what's going on, maybe they're spending a lot on soccer. I saw today online that they spent $210 million approximately to buy Rangers FC. If that's correct, that's where the money went. Mm-hmm. But I think it's also fair to look at, they've been very aggressive in like the first wave of free agency under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. Mm-hmm. And before them, when it was more of Parag's team and Trent Baalke's team, they like to sort of sit out the first wave because that's when you overpay. And then if you wait until like weeks 2, like right around now, you can start getting value.
Can settle.
That's how they always did it. And like, let's look at some of the big signings John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have made in free agency.
Okay.
Hargrave, Quan Alexander, Leonard Floyd, Devondre Campbell, Isaiah Oliver, Isaac Yadam. Like really, of the big free agent signings, the good ones were Richard Sherman and Travarius Ward. But every other one, it's like, I don't really know if that worked out. Maybe
some bad ones.
Like, man, we spent hella money on these outside players. Parag always tells us not to. We don't want to do it anymore, man. We're going to sit out the first wave of free agency, but we're going to be active. I mean, we can get some backups here and there, but we keep getting burned. I mean, this Hargrave thing was awful.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of names in there that have been that if you got to be honest, they've swung and they missed. They swung and missed on Quan Alexander, D Ford. Yeah. They brought in Isaiah Oliver, which you mentioned. Devondre Campbell was a horrible miss. Right now, Leonard Floyd did okay for us, but he's not even here anymore. Emmanuel Sanders had a cup of coffee with us. Right now,
Ebukam was solid.
Charles Omenihu was good. Yeah, Ward there's some really now. Let's give him some love. Arden Key was a good get. Charles Omenihu was a good get. Sam Ebukam was a good get. All right, so we can talk about the guys that they brought in. I would even say that
those were like more like bargain signings. I mean, those were big.
None of these were
signings. Yeah,
that's I think our point in being fair to them is even kind of proving our point even more.
Right.
Most of the middling picks that they did pick up gave us the most bang for your buck. I mean, how much worth did we get out of Tashaun Gibson? I mean, he saved us at free safety, right? When we had nobody there. That's somebody that they picked up that gave us a lot of worth at a lower price tag. So, yeah, swinging big, maybe late in the season when you got everything together and you literally, it's just a screaming hole on the team. I could see like an Emmanuel Sanders, right? But I got to be honest with you. Even in a sense, CMC didn't really feel a need. He just covered up a lot of deficiencies.
All I want to say is Sanders, CMC, Trent Williams, those were trades. I'm talking about straight up signings. That's because that's the time of year we're in right now.
Those are
what I mean?
trades. You're
Straight
right.
up
Yeah.
signings, because that's where we're at right now. And
Yeah.
for the Niners to like quote unquote do well at this time of year, they have to sign someone, and clearly they don't want to spend too much right now. They want to get bargain. I understand it. I think they got worse on paper, but they could sign someone next week who's really good, and they could get out a bargain, or they could kill the draft again this year. We'll see.
Well, right now, I think that there's some guys out there. There's Thornhill that was reported, the safety out of Cleveland. That would be a good get for us. I like that pickup. Right now, we've kind of missed out on Raheem Mostert. He just signed recently, I believe, with Las Vegas, so we lost out on him. But right now, outside of offensive linemen, there's about 3 centers that we all thought that, there was Ryan out of the Colts, Drew Dahlman that recently signed with the Chicago Bears out of Atlanta. And then we just lost another center right now. Free agency right now is all about linemen. If we don't have anything to build the depth of what we're going to get in the draft, I'm not really interested. So we got some receivers, we got some DBs, we kind of filled out what we could, but I tend to believe that this is really all we can do with free agency moving forward. It's really about the draft.
Steven Draper says comfort creates weak men and poor performance. Bayou Boy 1980 says, who's coaching the quarterbacks now? Mick Lombardi. And this is why I wrote an article a couple weeks ago saying when they promoted him, I'm thinking, watch for Mac Jones because they have a connection. He was on the Patriots during Jones' rookie year. And
that's a hell of a get.
Thank you. And now I'm starting to put the pieces together. It's like, okay, so if you were thinking about Mac Jones when you promoted Mick Lombardi, were you thinking about Mac Jones when you signed Luke Farrell? Because they're teammates. Like, how deep did this go? How much did you have to recruit Mac over here?
You on your Scully and Mulder right now. You're in your
How deep does this go? You tried to trade for him last year.
That is true.
You've really been working on this. You didn't give him that much money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning with the organization on this one. I know that these guys they've done okay, but the biggest thing for me is that I'm tired of falling on our faces trying to be the coolest man, the smartest guy in the room. We need to make the simple look easy. That's our biggest issue right now. We don't do the simple shit. So right now, invoking a quarterback competition. I mean, quarterback competitions are stressful. It's civil war in the fan base. It's contention. You really don't. And then what's really sucks about another reason why I'm glad that this just came to mind. Another reason why I don't want a quarterback competition is because it takes away from the team. It's all about who's going to be the guy that's going to start, and we don't spend enough time getting the team together because we're always worried about reps for these 2 mid-bozos. That's my biggest issue, is that when we have quarterback competitions, the rest of the team's got to sit back and wait. And we're not in that position right now. We got a lot of rookies coming in. Let's get to the business of getting better.